All right, good afternoon or good morning, depending where you at. Let's go ahead and start off. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. I want to hear from everybody today, even if it's just simple hi. Anyways, into the video, or this live on my phone right now. Vanessa Bryant, and in the last 48, maybe 72 hours or so, people have gone crazy at the possibility of Vanessa Bryant being pregnant by another man. And my first initial reaction was it was a sense of betrayal in a sense. And the reason I would say that is because she was married to Kobe Bryant. Now, I said that in a previous video that Kobe Bryant didn't get the credit he deserved for being such an amazing ball player that he was, man, father, and everything else, all because he made a mistake with a woman in the hotel room. That overshadowed his career and everything he done for the longest time. And to be honest with you, people didn't put him in the greatest category again until after he passed, unfortunately. And I think what helped that not only him passing was him also passing and attempted to defend or protect his daughter in his last moments. It was very tragic and sad to see and hear. And I still remember um, when I first heard that Kobe Bryant had passed. I thought it was like a joke or something. Somebody was trying to get some type of clout making up a story, but it was true. So when you learn about the tragic way that Kobe and his daughter passed away, and you hear about Vanessa Bryant now being potentially pregnant, it kind of felt like a betrayal because the man didn't pass away just by natural means. The man didn't pass away because he was doing something illegal. He just got caught lacking. He passed away spending time with his daughter and trying to protect her with his last breath, last moments, the last heartbeat in his chest. And I understand when you had the mindset of, well, it's been 5 years. She has every single right to move on. And that is a very true statement. I mean, vows are until death do you apart, right? So if one party does pass away, it gives you every single reason to be open to a new relationship and new love eventually. However, though, the main issue is though it was Kobe Bryant. It kind of feels like any man that she would be with after that point would just be very lesser in her selling. And let's see, I am. Thank you very much for that, man. I appreciate that. And that's what it was, right? And I saw the post that Vanessa Bryant had put up there saying that she's not pregnant, so she finally addressed it with a Rihanna post on her Instagram saying that she is not pregnant. She's just trying to live her life, live her peace. Even when you go to her Instagram, you see pictures of her daughters, and even some is still Kobe still. So she clearly still very much loves the man. And I remember back in the day, people were saying that she was like a gold digger and all this other kind of stuff. But time would tell who a person really is. And I remember people used to blame her for Kobe not having a relationship with his parents. And, that's not always true. You never know what your parents feel like they're entitled to your success. You never know what she got to go through also of her mom and all this other kind of stuff. Marriage is very complicated. But one thing I can say, at least what it appears to me, that she truly loved her husband, um, even to this day. Even to this day, she still loves him. And that's very respectable. And I get it. If she got pregnant, hey, that's 100% on her. She's a grown woman, and like everybody like to point out, or a lot of women like to point out that it's been 5 years. I get it. It has been 5 years. But when you were married to Kobe Bryant, the man who provided your life, even after your death, after his passing, and you know that he tried to protect. I think that was his oldest daughter at the time. I understand people feeling some type of way. Matt Spinner, hi. I hope you're doing well. ASD, how you doing, man? I think I've seen y'all before. I appreciate y'all coming back and just hanging out with me for a little bit. I was just seeing the reaction about Kobe Bryant's wife, and People were there. It was more split. They're like almost a 50-50. Some people was like my initial statement that they felt kind of betrayed that she could be pregnant by another man, and then other people were saying that no, it's been 5 years. She deserves to move on and be happy. I am of the mindset personally that if your spouse does pass away, that gives you 100% green light to go ahead and move on if you want to try to, if you're able to. But I would like to think personally, if you ever do get married, that's being married to your soulmate. So, and that's all I have really talk about that. Hey, it's complicated. It's complicated, and I can say this: I respect how Vanessa Bryant has handled all of this from the time Kobe has passed, even until now. She's always kept it classy and respectable, and that's very rare. That's very, very rare. Words don't always show how much you love somebody. It's the actions. And us men know that, right? In general, us men understand that we're not gonna tell you we love you all the time, but we're gonna provide you a home. We're gonna provide you peace and stability. We're gonna provide you all these things. Excuse me. Been sick the last couple of days too. But moving on. Moving on to the whole entire Diddy. Did I already say hi to Max Miller? I think I did. Hi, Max Miller. But to move on to the Diddy thing, right? Here's my thing with Diddy. If I'm being 100% honest, I don't think Diddy is any more worse than any other multi, let me say it a different way, for any wealthy person. Because, it's hard to tell what somebody's net worth is most of the time, right? You can go on Google and have a fake estimate of somebody's net worth and how much they may cost and, all this other kind of stuff. But what was right down to it, the people who have a question mark by how much they are worth and how much money they have, I think Diddy is no more worse or better than any of them. Heck, you even hear about, Instagram models going to Dubai and being part of a porta party, porta potty party. There we go. And you always hear about this kind of stuff, or if you ever have a friend or associate that that's very popular and they work more in the adult industry, and it don't necessarily means stripping things of that nature. You'll hear about stories and stuff that they've gone through. There's things that have been asked to do, and that's what I'm saying. That this whole entire trafficking and everything else when it comes to Diddy, I don't think that's really it because if you really think about it, if that was the case, Jay-Z would have got locked up. Tim Allen would have gotten locked up. What's the guy that the Baywatch dude? He would have been locked up. Boosie would have been locked up. Um, Kiki Palmer would have been locked up. There's a whole bunch of celebrities that I could keep here and keep going that did those kind of actions to their partners. And we always seem to think that people who have money have a very, thank you, Hasselhoff, thank you, Hasselhoff. And we always sit here and think that people who have money, um, they have a stronger mental state, they have a higher moral integrity. But truthfully be told, you can't make that kind of money keeping your hands clean. You can't do it. It's just not possible. And by the way, if you guys haven't, go ahead and like and subscribe and make a comment too. I appreciate it. But you can't make that kind of money being clean. Diddy peed off the wrong people. His ego got too big, unfortunately. He felt like that he was bigger than the program, and that's what took him down. Now, I will say this: does he deserve to pay for the consequences of what he did to Cassie? Yes. Do I believe he has done so? Also, yes. And the reason I say that, Cassie got 20 million for Diddy, 10 million for the hotel. There you go, right? Anything else outside of that, I feel is more personal. Let's see. Diddy will only get evicted if they can get their hands on the black man, otherwise he walks. That is a possibility, but I will say this. Whenever you're getting convicted by the feds, the FBI, and stuff like that, they rarely lose. They rarely lose. And the notes and the stories that you hear, I would really wish this Diddy trial was live, on the news station so everybody can see it, or at the very least, a recording. Let's say you can't have cameras in there. This is a recording of it, so it's okay for Pissy Diddy because other people did it. No, I'm not saying that at all. Like I mentioned before, Diddy is wrong for the things he did. What I'm saying is the reason Diddy is in court right now because he peed off the wrong people. That's exactly what it is. And if you think about it, I gave a list of a bunch of celebrities earlier, right? That have done some crazy and atrocious things. And even if you just like watch, in fact, Vince McMahon, you mean to tell me they got Diddy, but Vince McMahon is still walking free right now? Think about that for a second. Vince McMahon, who took a woman and literally had other wrestlers as that woman, I can't think of her name right now. He had other wrestlers as a party favor for her, right? Exact same thing happened to Cassie. Only difference is there are reports of Vince McMahon defecating on a woman's head and still making her have relations with other men. Vince McMahon is worse than Diddy to me. Vince McMahon was trying to have storylines of him having relations with his daughter. So what I'm saying is that Vince McMahon is still out there walking free, but he still got Diddy because Vince McMahon realized that he's not bigger than a program. He was staying within the guidelines of the society. And I'm not trying to sound very conspiratorial, but what do you say? He peed off. I don't know what that means. Let's see. You're confusing issues, my man. No way. I don't know what you mean by that. If you look at the details of Vince McMahon and Diddy and the things they're accused of, excuse me, is very similar, right? Vince McMahon literally trafficked that woman. Vince McMahon literally did things to that woman and forced her to do other things. Vince McMahon stalked that woman. Vince McMahon has a history of that stuff, even from back in the 80s when he had that first female wrestler. He was trying to force himself on her in a limo. Vince McMahon is just as bad as Diddy. I'm just saying, if you want a real life example of somebody who, and I'm not even gonna say it's a race thing. I'm just gonna say how is one person who stayed within the program and the other person who thought they were bigger than the program. Diddy, he got out of his role and he's paying the consequence of it. Go ahead and explain to me how I'm wrong, man. Always open to a conversation. Anthony Marcus, how's it going, man? New people coming in, go ahead and subscribe and like. I appreciate it. And make a comment too. But yeah, I want to have that conversation. Tell me how what Vince McMahon has done is different from Diddy. I would love to hear that because Vince McMahon's history of uh, SA and all kinds of stuff goes back into the 80s. So and that's what I mean. And Diddy, his stuff has been going on since the 90s. But you gotta think about it. Diddy, he wasn't satisfied with his deal with the Diageo or whatever that liquor is. He was trying to create his own, or he wanted to make funny behind his own black political party. These are things they don't necessarily want done for various different reasons. Vince McMahon, the only thing he's ever done is enjoy his money and take advantage and use people in horrific ways. Diddy, he enjoyed his money, used people in horrific ways also. However, though, Diddy was trying to, I don't know if it was the alleged drugs that he did, but something made him click to where he didn't want to be part of the program anymore. He wanted to do his own thing. He wanted to just be his own entity. Because you got to think about it. Not only Vincent Mann did the exact same thing, his wife is the Secretary of Education director or what have you. So he's in there with Trump too. Now Diddy and Trump has a nice close relationship. At least they did. And even Trump entertained the idea of Diddy being pardoned. And if he does get pardoned, hey, all the power to Diddy. That's what happens when you're part of that exclusive club, the billionaires club, the wealthy club. I won't say billionaire, the wealthy club, because people get that title of billionaire so easy now, and it's not really true. The wealthy club, the people that are clicked in, and you can find plenty of pictures of Diddy and Trump, Diddy and Vincent Mann, and all that stuff. But let's see what you got here. Let's see. All this stuff that's coming out now is years old, and never was him before. He just say you popped off for this. I'll release some this. Anyways, goes to the charge. I'm not sure what you really mean here, Dan. Yes, all the stuff that is coming out. Well, are you talking about things that are coming out old for Diddy or coming out old for Vince McMahon? Which one? Because if you want me to be really honest, both accusations are years old. Scroll like you said two things. So what's the other thing? Did I miss it? Let's see. You want me to explain how you're wrong? I don't think the other thing came up, man. Let me just go up some more. You're confusing issues, my man. No way. You're wrong on this. This isn't it. Want me to explain to you how you're wrong? Oh, wait. Maybe it's this right here. Diddy will only get convicted if they can get their hands on that blackmail. Otherwise, he walks. Yeah, I mean, I did kind of address that about the whole entire blackmail thing, but I also said that the feds have a way of not losing. And what I mean by not losing is, do I see Diddy getting do I see Diddy being in prison for 20 or 30 years? No. What I honestly see that will happen because Diddy's defense team is doing an amazing job. From the things I'm hearing from the people like the Breakfast Club, the CNNs, and the YouTube bloggers and TikTok bloggers who's there and taking notes and everything, Diddy's defense team, even Tisa Tells, who hates Diddy with a passion, even her hasn't given Diddy's defense team credit on how good of a job they're doing on defending Diddy. My only thing is about that. The feds have a habit of not losing. So what I see can happen is they will get time served, or he will get time served, maybe an additional year or two with some fines, and then he'll get to go. And that'll be somewhat of a compromise. He gets to live, learn a lesson, and get to live his life. Francis, I could have swore you asked me for a donation before, and like I told you before, I'm broke. Donate to me instead. I'm sitting here just talking. I work a regular job, man. I'm not one of those um, YouTubers, social media people that have 100,000 plus subscribers. Go to Poetic Flacco and ask him for a donation, or O'Shea Duke Jackson, or Alvin and Preach. Now, I'm pretty sure they got it. I don't. They say not in a post a message. Let's see. My point is, it's not just a crime committed, but also ego is involved. If I got videos of power people doing stuff with young folks, I'll never pay a parking ticket from that point on. But if you think about it, I'm simply talking about Diddy with this. So if you think about it, though, Diddy had his house raided. So with his house being raided, they more than likely their goal was to get those tapes. Now, there is, again, this is all speculations at this point, but at the exact same time, Diddy was getting ready to get his house raided. His jet was trying to leave out the country. His private jet was trying to leave out the country at the time. And they said a little bit before that it was going back and forth out of the country. I forgot where it was going. I did a video on it a year or so ago when it first broke when it happened. So my theory was that, or my theory is, because it wasn't just his Miami home that got raided, it was his New York home, California, all of them got raided pretty much at the exact same time. I think he had backups upon backups, and they weren't able to find all his backups. So if they can't get all the records of it, the only thing they can try to do is to put him away. Maybe they got that stuff, and now they can get him. It all makes sense that old Cassie stuff is now being taken seriously, and that's why you know what I found really interesting about the whole entire Cassie stuff, and this is my own ignorance of the law, right? I didn't know that you could be federally charged for DV. I had no idea. I always thought that was like a state thing. I didn't know that the FBI could get involved with DV. And I actually discovered that when I did a live on one of my other videos. I think it was around we talking about the Cassie Diddy trial and what time he could potentially get. I mean, if he got charged with, I don't see him getting charged with RICO, but if they make that DV stuff stick and all this other kind of stuff, I think he probably get like 7 years or so, realistically speaking, at the very max. But I don't, I think this whole entire Cassie thing was just their way to find a way to take him down. And Cassie is, if I'm being really honest, Cassie is not a victim at all. Cassie's an opportunist, and she just hop from one rich man to a richer man to a richer man, to the point that she got into the arms, or she got into a situation that was kind of demonic, that was really evil, that transformed her. And it's sad in the sense that the only way you can really seem to get ahead in these industries is if you're willing to sell your body. Two things, two things can be true at the same time. Um, I mean, I used to say that to my ex-wife and kids. More than one thing can be true. But I still remember back in the day why I'd never been a fan of Jay Z. I know I'm kind of bouncing around. Just to bring it back when I said about selling your body, and like you said, Dan, selling your soul. I remember when I forgot which song it was. JC said, middle finger to the Lord. I was like, middle finger to the Lord. I was like, is it Vice Lords he was talking about? No, he was talking middle finger to the Lord, like God. And he had a lot of demonic imagery in a lot of his music videos. So once I started realizing that, I just didn't mess with Jay Z anymore. And then once him and Beyonce got married, I stopped listening to Beyonce too, because you cannot be married to the devil and be clean. It just doesn't work that way. I don't care what anybody says. You cannot be married to the devil and be clean. And Jay Z has a long history of selling drugs. He has a history of abuse. He has a horrible history too. But yeah, anyways. But if you guys are new watching, go ahead and like and subscribe. I appreciate it. As we were bouncing around, what's my opinion on Kanye West's new song? I haven't listened to it yet. If it's the one I heard about it, right? Here's my thing about Kanye West. I think Kanye West I'm trying to think of the best way to say it. I'm just gonna be blunt. I think Kanye West is running to an early grave. If you're gonna be 100% honest with you, he's running to an early grave. And it's not like you can't say he's a genius and then say he's crazy. He doesn't know what he's doing, right? I'm from the Netherlands, so hearing a crowd singing was, yeah, it's just, yeah, Kanye's running to an early grave. And that's just what it is. I mean, if people like to make excuses and interpret Kanye's West actions for other things, for example, they will say like, hey, you know what? Kanye is trying to prove a point that the Hebrews really rule everything. You don't have free speech because if you speak against them, you'll get take it down. But if you speak against any other group, it's fine. All this other kind of stuff. And the actions that he has taken, if you want me to be really honest with you, is proven to be true in a sense that particular group does seem to be overly protected compared to everybody else. I mean, there are all kinds of slurs that goes to every single ethnic group. I mean, outside of just Black Americans and the genocide they've been through, you have the Asians that was here too, that was in internment camps and everything else. So there's all kinds of things that people should be protected against. But it's just that one particular group that you will seem to lose everything you speak too much against them, right? And Kanye is to the point to where his actions, and when I mean his actions, like his actions with his wife or a handler, because she has power of attorney over him. If she ever leaves him, he'll be the next Diddy. I mean, he already said he SA'd his cousin, or was his brother? I think it was his cousin. Um, he's already been implicated. What's her name? Nikita Heaton. Nikita Heaton. She indicated that him, and I think it was him and Diddy, if I remember correctly, drugged her and her friend and essayed the friend. I think she got away. She got assaulted, but the friend got messed up. And yeah, it's just crazy when you hear about all these stories when it comes to the music industry in general. You know exactly what he's doing. He can't help me. You know, that's like with any music artist, unfortunately. Even look at Katy Perry and her foolishness with that whole entire space exploration. It's just, I think celebrity and fame and having attention is just a drug to these people. And then once they're not able to have it anymore, they're willing to do anything they can to get that next fix. With Kanye, unfortunately, he has such a strong, loyal fan base that anything he does, even though he's going to be crossing a line, they're going to support it. I've rarely seen this kind of blind loyalty itself when it comes to Trump. The man deals in extremes. That's right. There was a rumor he told his wife to. That could be true. That could be true. And the only reason I say that could be true is because of R. Kelly. Because R. Kelly was with Aaliyah when she was underage. And then there was reports of R. Kelly being with Aaliyah's mom also. So it could be true. It's like all this stuff is connected in the most heinous way possible, and it's just insane. Let's see, what was I? Anyways, yeah, that was the post right there that I was referring to when it comes to Vanessa Bryant. Me protecting my peace, not pregnant. and having all the fun this summer. Everyone's getting exposed, like Cat Williams said. Yeah, Cat Williams did predict that. It's funny though, he kind of predicted Shannon Sharp's fate too, intentionally, unintentionally, and he also did warn him on his interview too about his actions, and so did Monique. But Shannon Sharp chose not to listen. It's that celebrity thing. It's like a drug. It's the craziest thing. But how everybody else is doing though, I appreciate you guys interacting, and talking. Like I said, it's always a good time when I have somebody else to talk to. So that is I just gonna be rambling to myself for like 30 minutes or so, whenever I choose to get on here. I was going to do an edit video on this whole entire situation. I just chose not to. Had a long day at work, but I still want to speak on it anyway. So I figure why not. Okay. What's your opinion on the world in general? Directly in Hollywood, UK, Russia, Israel, Palestine, India, Pakistan. I have two opinions on it, to be honest with you. One, I think everybody should mind their business other folks' business in I think everybody should mind their business in other countries' wars. Like Ukraine, Russia, United States should never got involved with that. Israel, Palestine, United States should never got involved with that. India and Pakistan, I don't think we're really too involved with that, but it's just a matter of time. It seems like, especially since United States is trying to make deals with India to replace the deals we have with China. So, to me, if other countries want to go to war, I think the United States should stay out of it. The United States has a lot of its own issues that's been advertised and shown all over the world. The United States is hurting. We do not have the funds, resources, or the time to sit here and involve ourselves in the other people's wars and conflicts and act like we are on moral high ground. We haven't had a moral high ground in almost 30 years, and this is kind of uh, longer than 30 years at this point. And so it's just kind of embarrassing for us to get involved with people where our own home country is in shambles right now. America is not as safe feeling as it used to be. Let me put it that way. So, in the reckoning in Hollywood, I feel like the reckoning in Hollywood is a long time coming. Um, because what was his name? Kevin Spacey, great actor, but he also got taken down for allegations with a boy. So, oh, and the other thing is that I really do think Diddy was more involved with witchcraft than anything else. When I say witchcraft, some sort of spirituality that we're not fully aware of, because I'll tell you why. There is such thing called SEX magic, right? They can manifest what you want, things of that nature. And it's a very real thing that people practice. And I feel like the free calls was in part that some type of a ritual for that. And even recently, when it came out, when the mother said that, not the mother, they came out that Diddy's fluids, the fluids from his member, was saved in a jar in a refrigerator and used to make mac and cheese with. That's also a type of ritual too. You know how back in the day, they say it started with Italy, but a lot of cultures practice this, that women, when they fall in love with a man, they'll take the menstrual fluids and they'll put it in pasta, and like the tomato based pastas, and they'll give it to their lover so that lover will be obsessed and fall in love with them. It's the same thing for men, just with Alfredo sauce and our white stuff. So I think a lot of the stuff that you're hearing that sounds pretty sick and nasty it's a lot of rituals that we don't really practice or know about unless you have people from the old days that will tell you about this stuff. That's why you gotta be careful of what you accept from people, especially food, especially food. Let's see, Europe is so different. How is Europe different? True, still making movies though. Unlike Lindbergh's meetings, Bilderberg. Why does that sound so familiar to me? Is that the meeting that they have overseas with like all the world leaders and the rich people? They have it like once a year or something like that. Why is I should? I didn't watch that movie, but they're saying that that movie is based off a lot of the Diddy's parties. So who knows? Who knows? So, anyways, if you just popped in for a minute, go ahead, like, comment, and subscribe. I appreciate it. I am gonna watch it soon. I'm just been behind on movies. I'm either working or I'm trying to edit, put new videos out, and some of the videos I do take more research than others. And like, cause I'm a one man team, I hope to get popular enough one day to where I can just hire somebody to help do me some research and do my thumbnails and things of that nature. But um, it's time consuming. Nice talking to you too. Thanks for the ration. I hope you have a good night. Keep hearing stuff. Anyways, what time is it?